Let's got here, and it's time to talk about Witch Hat Atelier. But before that, yes, I'm still sick, so my voice is weird. The last few days I barely had any voice. Right now I just recovered a bit, so I'm sorry if I'm still talking through my nose or I sound weird. And this episode was honestly great. It's one of the things I always think about, kind of like the themes with this episode in general. And we got a lot of character development for Riche and also Uini and cliffhanger. I need the next episode right now, but let's get into it and talk about it. While the three are taking the test here, Agot, Riche, and Uini, we have a history lesson from Kifrey, which I think this kind of ties to the main themes of this episode and probably of the entire series. We get a history of the ruins there with the Romanons civilization, with how obsessed they got with gold. They got very arrogant. They started selecting people that could join them. This is why they made the test here. Then they started kind of eating themselves up, looking inwards. It turned into a sort of eugenics way there, and people that they saw lesser than themselves, they started turning them into gold statues. Like, they kind of basically got so high on their own supplies they imploded their entire civilization here. And this is why I think it kind of ties so much to the themes of this episode and also probably the themes of the series. People always think into extremes. Like, you have people, they're always looking at themselves, we're so good, our way of thinking is always the best, but they fail to look at different perspectives, so they kind of stagnate and then they regress thanks to this finding new ways, accepting new ways of thinking is very good. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't stick with something. Some things are very foundational, very important. Some things shouldn't be change, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't accept change. Also, there's a very fine line with these two extremes into everything. We see it with teaching, with parenting, how Kukro sucks ass so much, so overbearing, so bad for having people. It destroyed Uini's confidence, it stunted him, his progression, his way of thinking, even his self-identity. He started wanting not being himself. Thanks to Riche, he was able to break out of that shell a bit. But also you have it a bit with Riche. She kind of had similar ways, and then she kind of went into the extreme of always wanted to be herself, doing things only in her own way, into the other extreme, refusing to accept help or refusing to see things as others. You get into those two extremes when the best way is the middle, taking a bit of both here, and I feel like she got a bit of that also thanks to this test, thanks to Kifrey pushing her to take this test, and also Elira, and we're gonna get into that moment. And I really like this because it's something that I think about daily life. We're so fucked as humans because we always look at extremes. Just to be blunt, we have so many problems thanks to this, and we refuse to take the middle road in a way and accept a lot of things anyway. But anyway, back to the episode here, and we have even the conversation when Kifrey said, hey, people are terrifying, probably ties with the magic here, and then Coco seeing that magic is for helping people. She has faith into this, and Kifrey amplifies this, but also still has his own doubts, which is warranted. Sometimes you do need to have doubts, especially into a world like this. But back to the test, we have Elira. She's not gonna give any advice there, and we have Riche instantly trying to do it her own way. Doesn't work out. She tries to fly, to bypass the entire puzzle, basically. I do this a lot also in games here, but sometimes it doesn't work. You have to follow the rules. Even though you can bend them, do it in your own way, at the core you still kind of have to follow the rules that were set up in front of you. How you approach following those rules, that's up to you. That's the key lesson here. Then we find out that the orientation is messed up for the way, thanks to Uini having some experience with the test, can only stand on the serpent way there on some of the tiles here, and thanks to them using water flows by gravity, they figure out where it's safe to step here. And of course Richie doesn't want to follow the right path. There we see a bit of a flashback with how strict her previous master was, kind of a bit similar with Yuini and Kukro. I hope we get the reveal who her original master was there, kind of chastising, criticizing her, throwing away her ideas there, thinking she's not good. This kind of pushed her into this, and this applies to parenting also. Sometimes when you keep kids too locked down, you're not able to do this, do this, do this, do this, do anything. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to go out. You're not allowed to play. Sometimes when they escape, they kind of go wild and start doing a lot more extreme things. We kind of see a bit of that aspect with Riche. Then you also have the other aspect with Yuini. They shut themselves up into themselves, lose confidence. They're not able to socialize, not able to have their own identity. They close themselves off from the world. Here you see the two extremes, and this is why I really like this episode quite a lot there. Of course, she finds her different way to get the Mirphons to follow here, because they still have to do that, not just cross the way there to keep the animals with themselves here, the way you approach that problem. And Yuini has still stuck in his way of not having any confidence there, focused on the right answers. He always wants to follow the rules, even though that sometimes could be to the determinant of what he wants to do. Man, my voice is so fucked up, I can barely talk here. I apologize about this, but you also have to learn from failures here. And then you have Agat. She's kind of beat into the middle. She's willing to do both things. You have that example there, tells Richie and them, hey, do whatever you want. And then Richie is like, I don't need your permission. I love you, Richie. She's my spirit animal here. But then they reach at a broken part of the road here. How do you cross that? The water trick is not gonna work anymore here. Now, Coco on the outside spots something, thinks, asks Kifre, hey, are there other witches here? There shouldn't be anybody. She goes to check on the cliff, doesn't see it, but we get to see that the invisible brimmed cap, the one where you only see his clothes, is there. He's gonna be at the end of the episode. I'm curious how she caught it. They're very, very observant here. Then back at the test, we have Riche extending, making ribbons. They're extending the stones like noodles, also getting to cross the gap there, and also being able to get the animals to follow her. Everybody doing it in their own way. And here kind of telling you also change your thinking, change your perspective. If you're not able to do something, change the way you do that something, which can work. Kind of like the concept of thinking outside the box, but she sometimes starts not even thinking of the box or refuses to think because it's not right. That's why she's a bit onto that extreme, and Yuini just wants to stay in the box, not even open the box, if you guys get my meaning here. But that was great. Then Agatha is able to make new stairs to extend the way, even though they fall down because she's not able to draw comfortably. Remember, they still have to hide their magic to not be discovered as humans. She says she needs to improve a bit more. Then we have the key point of the episode, Yuini being stuck, scared. There, Agatha kind of having that mentality of, hey, just do it, just push yourself, just get over it, just flip a switch and get over your problems. It's not gonna work like that. A lot of people don't understand that people deal with things very differently. Like something for you could be very easy, and telling somebody, hey, just do it, yeah, it sounds great from your perspective, but from their perspective and how they view the world, how they are, it's not that easy. Just the same way as some things aren't easy for you. And Agatha is not very good at looking at other people. She's not very good seeing their perspective and putting herself into their shoes. But Coco helped her a lot with this, and she dropped some crumbs with this throughout the episode also. And this is why I feel like there's so much character development and character building between all of them. The world here and their interaction is it's great here. But Uini still has this fear. He can't draw when somebody watches. You have Kukro always overbearing him, destroyed his confidence. We even see it a bit more into the flashback. But when he's alone, he's able to do this. And I kind of relate a bit with him. Sometimes I also overthink things a lot here. I get stuck into my own mind there, especially when he finally realizes what he was doing. And the moment here we have Riche wants to always be herself, and then when Uini says he wants to be anybody else but himself, we see the two extremes. But what I really liked was that Riche believed in him, helped him just concentrate on being alone right now. Doesn't matter how you do it, just concentrate on being alone. She's kind of paying it forward for his experience at the start with the water trick there, and he's able to use the code, kind of puts himself into a shell ironically there, hides himself, then starts overthinking that everybody was laughing at him, even Alyra, the others, Agot, Riche, probably even the animals. He thought he was looking pathetic. Sometimes I get stuck into my own head like this also, very much over for a lot of things, and I'm sure a lot of you also, maybe not to this extreme, but everybody has moments like this here, and overthinking is one of my flaws, definitely here. And then he peeks outside, he realizes nobody was laughing at himself, not Alyra, not the others here. He was the only one that was cursing himself, stopping himself there, stagnating himself here. And when he realized this, it finally clicked for him. Of course, he's not suddenly a perfect person. He's not suddenly able to draw in front of others, but it kind of opened the door to get over his fears in a way a bit. And I really like how he was able to take inspiration from the cloak they had to pretend to be somebody else, the illusion cloak here, and he's able to kind of create his own spell in a way. And I really like this quite a lot because it took even Alyra by surprise. He changes the way the cloak works with that black smoke. She even started making a barrier that she thought was a trap left over or something else here. But no, it's only Uini's spell here he makes. He's able to do it, to kind of cloak himself, to give himself like an armor in a way to be able to draw alone, to hide himself from the world there. He found his own way of doing things, which was great there, but now he also has to get the animals to follow him thanks to the sounds, because the cloak is not gonna work to the same way. He technically broke the rules, but didn't break the rules to still be human. It worked out. That was great, thinking outside of the box here. He's able to make the stones like roots fly over, finding your own way here. And I like how Richie was the one that was able to get through with him. He found some confidence in himself and doesn't hate himself right now as much. So Richie helped him quite a lot here, even thanks her. And I do hope we get to see more Uini, because he was great in this episode. He was the star of this episode, with very, very much so supportive from Richie. But here when Alyra said, this is what tests are about, learning about yourself, spells are different, but we have to find your own way. I'm paraphrasing a bit and telling her, hey, see, tests aren't so bad. And Richie liked that, her flashing here, but the moment that killed me, made me laugh. It's like, yeah, sure, but I still want an apology from Kifre for making me do this. He earned an angry Richie point. That was great to hear. And speaking of Richie, Alyra wanted to ask something, but they get interrupted. The brim cap invisible guy attacks, grabs her. She's able to, I think she used her hat to warn the others outside, especially Kifre. She threw it out and told them, don't listen to what the brim caps say anything there. She gets taken away who knows where, why, what going to happen here. And the episode ends and I'm like, damn, cliffhanger. But overall, awesome episode here. Something that is always on my mind, this kind of conversation and topic of discussion. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought about the episode. We only have one more episode, but we're gonna talk more about that next week. So thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, helps me quite a lot, and you guys get latest videos on the series that I follow. So keep enjoying anime. I'm gonna see you on the next one. Bye bye.